welcome back to another video on the channel. I hope everyone is well. Today we're talking about the FIFA Arab Cup. That's right, an official FIFA Arab tournament which is taking place at the end of this year, kicking off on the 30th of November and with the final on the 18th of December 2021, and it's taking place in Qatar. And Qatar are using it as basically a sort of a warm-up for the World Cup next year, where they're sort of testing out their stadiums, facilities, how everything's going to work with fans coming in. So a little warm-up tournament, a FIFA Arab Cup 2021. There's been a few Arab Cups in the past, none as sort of big as or important as this, I think, but it's going to be interesting. So Algeria are taking part. They're one of the 16 teams that have qualified for the group stages. However, it's not going to be the main Algerian team. It's going to be like the Algerian team that played against Liberia recently. It's going to be a lot of local players, probably managed by Majid Bouguera as a manager. And I do actually think you might see some of the players that play in Qatar play in the tournament, or maybe some of the Middle East players. So I wouldn't be surprised if people like Mbulhi, Ben Lamry, if he's in the Middle East, for sure Bounedjah and Belayli. Bounedjah and Belayli have played for this team before because they're based in Qatar. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bounedjah and stuff took part in this tournament, and I think the Qatari season might be finished by then. So I think there's a possibility you might see one or two of the main Algerian team players actually take part in this tournament. Of course, it's down to who's available, but I do think the players that play in Qatar, it would be stupid not to take them. So don't be surprised if you see Bounedjah and Belayli at this tournament, but Bouguera might choose not to take them. Belmadi might want them rested because there's AFCON around the corner. Of course, the AFCON is 1 month after this Arab Cup. So do we necessarily want to risk injuries on big players? Of course, we'd rather win the AFCON than the Arab Cup, but it would be great to have another trophy in the cabinet. So this Arab Cup includes all the usual suspects. You've got Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt. I'm guessing they'll all take local teams as well. And then you've got teams like Saudi Arabia who have been to World Cups and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. And of course, our brothers Palestine are also in there as well. So good luck to them. So Algeria's group draw has been confirmed. They're in Group D. We knew we were going to have Egypt. We've actually got quite a hard draw, because considering the teams that are in this tournament, some of the teams in this tournament are not great. We'll look at the other groups in a second. But when you think of who's in this, and we get Egypt, they're probably one of the strongest sides in this tournament. If it's local players only, you look at a club like Al Ahly and the players they've got, they make up half of the Egyptian national team or their local players. So that's going to be tough playing Egypt's team. I think it's going to be a real test for our local players playing against the Egyptian team. So in our group stage, a mouth-watering game between Algeria and Egypt. And we've even got Sudan as well. Sudan, a team that are going to AFCON as well. So 3 of the 4 teams in our group are going to AFCON a month later. And you look at some of the other countries and who they've got a far easier group. So we've been given a very tough group. Maybe they didn't want us to do well because Algeria are doing so well, but a very, very tough group. So it's Algeria, Egypt, Lebanon and Sudan in Group D. Of course, if you win the group or come second, you go through, and then you'll play first or second from Group C. I think Algeria might actually come second in this group to Egypt. I think the game against Sudan will be harder than people think. I think if we have Bounedjah and Belayli, it'll be a lot easier. If we don't, I'd be slightly worried about our progress. Is it going to affect our FIFA ranking? But it's always exciting to see Algeria at a tournament. We've seen Algeria play at the Olympics a few years ago. That was fun. So I'm going to cover this tournament. I think it'll be a good laugh, and hopefully we can see Algeria go far, and maybe 1 or 2 of the local players, maybe like Amoura, really do something special and make a name for themselves. Because if Belmadi watches this cup and sees 1 or 2 guys playing really well, it might, convince him to take them to the AFCON a month after. Of course, the AFCON has to take priority, but it might be a good warm-up for our players. But we don't want any of the big players getting injured. So we've got to play Egypt, Lebanon and Sudan. Now the good thing is I think we actually have to play Sudan first and then Lebanon. So I think we've got the 2 easiest games in the first 2 matches, if it's like that, unless they change it. Of course, all the games taking place in Qatar, so there's not really going to be any home advantage apart from the hosts, of course. So I'd love us to win this group. If we come second in this group to Egypt, there's a strong chance we'd probably play Morocco in the quarter-final. And Morocco have got a very strong local team as well. They've won the last 2 Chans the cups for local African players. We can't even qualify for Chan, and Morocco have won the last 2 Chans. So that's going to be tough if we get Morocco. So we're probably going to have to try and win this group. But it's going to be an interesting tournament, and a lot of people talk about these local players and they want to know, are they good enough? Yes, they just thrashed Liberia. Well, we're going to find out if they're good enough in the Arab world. It's going to be a great test to see just where these players are at, because if Algeria go out early, if we finish below Sudan and Egypt, then we know they're not good enough. If we go far, it might be worth giving 1 or 2 an opportunity. So in Group C, there's Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Jordan and Palestine. Of course, we're going to play someone from that group in the next round if we go through. Probably Morocco and Saudi Arabia will be one of the teams we play in the quarterfinals if we go through our group. That, again, that's a tough draw, considering, I mean, look at the other groups, right? Tunisia, United Arab Emirates, Syria and Mauritania. Of course, Mauritania and Tunisia we just beat, and they've got Syria and United Arab Emirates. And we've got Egypt and Sudan. And in Group A, you've got Qatar, the hosts. I mean, talk about an easy group. Qatar have got Iraq, Oman and Bahrain. They haven't even got an African side. I mean, how does that work? How have Qatar not got an African side? And they're going to have a very favourable game in the quarterfinal, Qatar, because they'll probably play Mauritania or the UAE. So again, interesting how it's worked out. Qatar will be looking to try and win the tournament. Qatar want to play in everything these days. They want to play in the Copa America. They want to play in the CONCACAF Cup. I don't know why Qatar are everywhere. But looking at this tournament, I think it's a tournament that if we had the right squad, we could do something. I'm not convinced we'd win the tournament with our local players. I think Morocco have got better local players. Egypt have got better local players. And of course, all the Asian countries like Qatar might even take their main national team. They're probably going to take the national team, Qatar, that will go to the World Cup and play the opening game of the 2022 World Cup. So Qatar are going to take this seriously. Saudi Arabia, another team that will go to the World Cup probably and play their main team. So that's going to be tough. If we take our local team, hopefully it's not going to affect our unbeaten record because it shouldn't count. I don't know how FIFA are going to look at this, but with 27 unbeaten, we don't know how many games we'll be unbeaten by then. We've got the main team's World Cup qualifiers, and then we've got the World Cup playoff if we make it that far. So it's going to be an interesting tournament. Let me know your thoughts on this cup down below. So Algeria have got Egypt, Lebanon and Sudan. Sudan have got a very promising team that went to AFCON. If Sudan take the main team, that's going to be a difficult game. I think Algeria local against Sudan main team will be closer than people think. I think Algeria local against Egypt main team will be a tough game. I think we comfortably beat Lebanon with our eyes closed though. So that's my thoughts on the Arab Cup. Let me know if you're looking forward to the Arab Cup in the comments down below. Some interesting games, hopefully some good games at this tournament, and of course more football to watch. What a mouth-watering calendar we've got if nothing else affects it. We've got the World Cup qualifiers, and then we've got the Arab Cup, and then we've got AFCON, and then we've got the World Cup. So that is like 3 or 4 huge sets of games in the next 12 to 18 months. So hopefully, inshallah, it'll be very exciting. But like I say, let me know your thoughts on this tournament down below. Are you going to be watching it? Are you interested in the Arab Cup? Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.